Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. I am back. We are on episode 42, and we will be facing the Reapers. This is a side mission, not a plot mission. I'm using Javik and James this time around, and I'm finally getting around to using the Geth Pulse Rifle and the Arc Pistol, which I actually have already demonstrated in my target practice series if you care to see them in more detail and see their accuracies tested and whatnot. But I have a lot to say, and this is a pretty short video, so I'll try to be brief. First off, a shout out to Ragnarok, or Ragnarok, depending on how you would pronounce it. He asked me about the Shredder mods, the piercing mods, the mods that just ignore armor completely and do damage directly to health. He asked me if they're useful, to which I responded, I really don't know. I think they might have potential, but I haven't really used them in great detail. I tend to just use the scopes and the straight-up damage improvement mods. By the way, Incapacitate on Carnage is awesome. I highly recommend it for Insanity gameplays if you wish to increase your survivability a bit. But anyway, yeah, I didn't know. I still am not totally sure. I did make it a point to use them in this video for his benefit, and still really not sure. My gut tells me you'd probably be better off just going with pure damage. But then again, the piercing mods, the Shredder mods, also... Shredder, I think, is just for shotguns. I think it's piercing for everything else, so I might be wrong. I looked at them, and they're essentially the same thing. They do also give you the advantage of being able to fire through cover to an extent, so maybe that also helps. I don't generally see the need to do that, but I don't know. So here's an example of what not to do in this place. Don't stand in the radiation. That was my only death of the entire mission, so made me... Actually, didn't really make me anything. I just laughed at that. Like, okay, well, don't do that. So yes, we are facing the Reapers. We will be facing Husks. There is a biotic engine up there, which I'll be taking out in a moment. This is the Geth Pulse Rifle. Not a problem. Miss having a shotgun or a close-range weapon, but they're Husks. Come on. Really not difficult. Even with biotic barriers. But also, guys, I thank you for all the comments. I'm starting to get a lot at this point, and I do make it a point to try to respond to all of them when I can. So if I'm not getting back to you, I absolutely will. I just haven't had the time. I'm probably sleeping, or the inbox for YouTube just hasn't updated yet. So keep that in mind, but if you ask a question, I will absolutely answer it as soon as I'm aware of it. So sorry for the delay. Also, right here, I'm just waiting for Sabotage to recharge. I finally remembered to try to sabotage a Reaper. Finally remembered. So I'm waiting. Cast. There's no sabotage graphic on him. There's just fire. So I'm going to say no. Maybe I'll try it again eventually, but the cooldown was so long on this mission because I'm using two very heavy weapons. I was also very aware that I would be using two very heavy weapons, but I said, nah, who cares, whatever. It's not as if I won't be able to win or, you know, beat it. Whatever, who cares? So, there we had a biotic engine. Taking that out. Also, another shout out to Splat. He reminded me, or just told me, that yes, the Codex exists. If you don't know what some of the effects of the enemies are, especially the Reaper enemies, go to the Codex and it tells you. And those ribbons, those red ribbons, are just a Marauder giving the Husks armor. That's what that is. When cannibals eat other enemies as well, they regen their health, and they also gain armor, and apparently they get smarter, at least according to the Codex. And the reason that I wasn't sure of these things was because they don't get a yellow bar. So if they have armor, I don't get to see it in the form of a yellow bar. No flanking. No. Bad. You don't do that. And now I'm thinking, oh wait, I don't have Tally anymore. I don't have freaking energy drain for her. So what am I going to do? And I also kind of got stuck on cover for a second. That's what that flailing about was, but whatever, it worked out well enough. I think I used a grenade, a clutch grenade, and took care of him. But yes, if it does give them armor, it's just in the form of more health, a larger red bar, if anything. So here we're using the Arc Pistol, and it has a charge effect similar to the shotguns, but it's also a very rapid-fire weapon. So I tend to just charge up and then shoot out a barrage. Most of the time, unless the enemy is pretty far away, then I rely a bit more on charges. On a charge shot, it consumes 3 ammo, and it shoots out 3 projectiles at once, so just something to keep in mind. I'm also very aware that these guys are being charged up by a barrier engine, but I just don't know where it is. I can't see it, and I'm having trouble peeking over to that far right side to actually get line of sight of it because the Marauders keep me down. So I basically just ignore it and deal with it. They're just Husks. Not a big deal. But again, thank you, Splat, for making that known to me. I was really tired of just not knowing things, not being able to answer people definitively. But so those red bulges, that's just, they have more health. they have more armor, which I say with quote fingers. So, beyond that, something I just wanted to quickly talk about, and this is a pretty short video, this whole thing is just one mission, and this won't be a two-parter episode, it's just, this is one mission. GameSpot recently released an article about James Vega, and how there's a lack of backstory for James Vega, and how apparently, and warning, plot spoilers, brrr, don't listen for the next 20 seconds or something. Just, apparently you killed 300,000 Batarians for destroying a mass relay to prevent the Reapers from attacking a sector or something, and James was a prison guard, and you were discharged, and whatever. And for me, and I, generally, I really do care about the plot. I am paying attention to the plot through the whole game. I am, at some point, going to read the entire codex, so it's important to me, but for me it was just like, okay, it looks like we're starting in media res here with this character. We're just starting in the middle of things, and media res is a plot technique where you just kind of start in the middle of things, big in Greek epics and stuff like that, if you are into literature. So, it just really didn't matter to me. It's like, okay, new character. I'm not really accustomed to getting backstories for characters when I first meet them anyway. I guess GameSpot was just kind of irritated because he acts as if he knows you, whereas the player really doesn't know him unless you've read outside material. But again, it's just like, I don't know, read the outside material if you really want to know, or even better, go to the Mass Effect wiki and read it all for free, and now you know. It's something that you can rectify in 10 minutes of reading. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but let us focus more on the gameplay at hand. Now we're going to be facing a brute. I've really gotten used to killing brutes at this point. Now this one, of course, has a barrier, which is just super fantastic. There is a barrier engine that charged him up. James is about to be eaten. Always unfortunate when James gets eaten. But who cares? I don't need you. I don't need you. I just need to not get gunned down by this Marauder. He's way more of a threat than the brute. And as I run, I'm like, wait, was that a barrier engine? Seriously? Really? Alright, well. Moving right along. Oh, and there's freaking another one. Okay. And moving right along. But yeah, if you want to know how to kill brutes, I guess just watch this for the next minute or so. I think I'm hit all of one time. And of course, it's a lot easier to kill them when you don't have, you have room to maneuver and you don't have a bunch of Marauders shooting at you. But really, when it comes down to it, just roll. Just tuck, roll, move out of the way. That's really it. And this guy's a particularly difficult brute because he does have a barrier most of the time. But I really didn't have any trouble. Would have been even easier if I had a shotgun. If I had the Grawl Spike Thrower. Granted, the Grawl Spike Thrower makes literally everything easier. There's nothing it can't kill quickly. So fire ammo helps, I guess, but he's just about dead. I think I rezzed James just for, why not? Ah, and then he finally hits me, and he does almost one-shot me, but whatever. It happens. That's basically it. And now just more Marauders, and that was essentially the boss fight of the game, really. Rather, of the mission. Oh yeah, just to go back to what I was saying about the GameSpot article, I do totally understand if you hate when games, make you play DLC to get plot, or make you read stuff to get plot, or whatever. I'm far more sympathetic about playing DLC than anything, because DLC, by and large, really, generally, isn't the best bang for your buck. Expansions give you far more content than DLC. Granted, then again, though, it does allow developers to just produce content faster, and get that to players faster as well, so it's kind of a complicated issue. Like, for example, warning, warning, spoil alert. So, if you hadn't played Lair of the Shadow Broker before this game, you wouldn't know that Liara was the Shadow Broker, which you would find out in that particular DLC. So, yeah, I can understand that. A lot of people don't like DLC, they don't like getting ripped off. But Lair of the Shadow Broker was a really good DLC. Good content, you got the stasis skill, great environments, the final boss was fun. And it's just fun, so it was well rated. So if you really wanted that information, play the DLC, I guess. And then when you choose not to, well, then you miss out, I guess. That's just kind of, that's a decision you're making, that's a choice. Maybe you think it's an unfair choice, but it is what it is. And if you want to know that information beforehand or in retrospect, just go to the Mass Effect wiki and read it there. Anyway, I thought this was funny. Let's start up a reactor and then immediately run through it to go to our extraction point. That makes perfect sense. Except, not at all. But anyway, thanks guys for watching, stay tuned for more, and have a good one.